The field of education has been slow to recognize both the impact of new learning tools and the environmental changes in what it means to learn. This quote was spoken by George Siemens, who is considered a theorist of the digital age. He is famous for his learning theory, connectivism. Prior to becoming a theorist, this Canadian worked as an Associate Director of Research and Development at the University of Manitoba. He also is the founder and president of Complexive Systems Incorporated, which is a research lab that assists organizations in developing learning structures for global strategy application. In his spare time, Siemens teaches open learning classes at Athabasca University in Canada. His job as a social media strategist focuses on organized impact and institutional change. George Siemens has just recently been put into our historical timeline of cognitive theorists. He stated his theory in 2004 because he felt that other theories were lacking. His theory of connectivism became a pivotal discovery in his life. At the time of this theory going public, the technological era had already begun. Social media networks were becoming hugely popular. Now these social medias are ways to connect to friends, involve yourself in a network, promote your business, and actively learn. George Siemens stands firm in his belief that learners need to be connected to people and information to gain knowledge. In a YouTube video, George Siemens explains his views on what learning means to him.
What is learning for me? Well, I think I'd have to rely on a statement that E.M. Forster famously made, which is only connect. And I think in a very real sense, for me to learn today is about being properly connected to other people, being able to find information when I want, having tools at my disposal that allow me to access different sources of information, and also having a network of people that enables me to reach out, ask questions when I need it.
Connectivism is based on the idea that the students we are teaching nowadays are a part of the digital era. He argues that other theories do not reflect the type of learning that occurs in today's digital age, nor do they meet the needs of today's students. Connectivism is based on creating connections through networks and nodes. Nodes can be anything connected to another node within a network. Siemens bases this idea off of connecting to people in a different way. On his blog, he compares connections online versus meeting someone face-to-face. He says, "When I follow someone on Facebook or Twitter, the connection seems more real, more intentional." In 2008, Siemens delivered an online course called Connectivism and Connective Knowledge. The course was free and open to anyone who wished to participate, with over 2,000 people worldwide signing up. The course was repeated in 2009 and in 2011. He taught these students the principles of connectivism, some of which include learning is the process of connecting specialized nodes or information sources, capacity to know more is more critical than what is currently known, nurturing and maintaining connections is needed to facilitate continual learning, and the ability to see connections between fields, ideas, and concepts is a core skill. The strengths of connectivism are these practices help to meet the diverse learning needs and styles of all students by providing opportunities for students to interact with and create meaningful curriculum content. It also helps students stay current in the field of technology. The theory promotes instruction in metacognitive skills, including the ability to search, analyze, and evaluate information. By helping students learn at school through networks, we are capitalizing on the amount of information they are getting. Applying the theory in the classroom helps to ensure that students are exposed to multiple perspectives and opinions versus being subject to the limited point of view of the instructor and course-related textbooks. The strengths of connectivism allow students to become active learners and involved in the process. Students are more apt to pay attention, make contributions to what you are teaching, understand how to debate using facts and logic, be proud of the accomplishments they have made, and remain motivated throughout your instruction. The weaknesses of connectivism are emerging ideas of this theory are not supported by empirical research, which allows for the loss of credibility. Others feel it is a pedagogical view rather than a learning theory. It is also based upon teaching with digital user technology and the Internet, which is not currently available globally. Another issue based on technological concerns is the limits put on programs on the Internet. The popularity of open classes will depend on whether learning management software companies like Blackboard make it easy to publish open versions of online courses, says David Wiley, an associate professor of instructional psychology and technology at Brigham Young. In education, administrators may have issues with the idea of assessment based on connectivism. This type of learning does not allow for the teaching of the test model based in most schools. Schools would need to develop new forms of assessment and teaching and allow for professional development and help for teachers who are not familiar with the digital concepts. Siemens focuses his teaching on the open teaching model. Distance educators who teach these types of classes also question how well the open teaching model, which has been limited mostly to educational technology courses, would apply to more traditional subjects that may require more guidance for students. Siemens knows of these weaknesses and has listed factors that are important for successful integration of connectivism in his book, Knowing Knowledge. They include time available for development, budget for development, intent of learning, technology availability, and competence of staff members to use new technology. Siemens feels his theory of connectivism is based upon cognitivism, behaviorism, and constructivism. When analyzing these four theories, there are differences between all, but also some similar characteristics. Behaviorism identified thinking as a behavior. Then cognitivism based their ideas upon behaviorism, but added the explanation of cognition and using the mind. Constructivism bases its theory off of the person generating knowledge and meaning from personal experiences and ideas. Siemens found three limitations of these theories: their intrapersonal view of learning, their failure to address the learning located in technology, and lack of value judgments that need to be made in knowledge-rich environments. From there, he decided his theory of connectivism would be based on knowledge existing in the world rather than in the individual's head. George Siemens indicates the special importance that is given to the effect technology has on how people live, how they communicate, and how they learn. Technology has changed how I research projects and information, from looking in the library to find books, to searching on online databases to find thousands of sources. Technology has had an effect on how I live. We have a laptop that moves to every room in our house. How I communicate? How long can I be on Facebook before I've read everyone's updates? And how I learn. Searching online is so much better than using the card catalog. As educators, we need to embrace these changes and provide our students with as much technology to learn as possible. Applications of connectivism are happening all of the time. With the world opening up to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, networks and connections are being made all over the place. After following Siemens' Twitter account, I quote, "Interesting. I found out about bin Laden's death via my son on Facebook. I was watching TV and writing a blog post. Networks seem to work." By using these applications in the education system, we will be able to connect with our students in a new way, the digital way. Making connections between people and ideas is really what education is about. Connectivism introduces a learning theory in which students are encouraged to look outside of the classroom, developing relationships with those who are interested in the same things that interest them. Most of my graduate learning has been available online. This type of e-learning is just what George Siemens is looking for. Moodle, Blackboard, and Wikis help make this type of learning possible. Siemens would like ordinary people to be able to join in on classes at Yale University or Harvard. He feels that if all learners were able to get this type of knowledge, the world would be a better place. He states in his book, "Simply put, life is learning. If we are interacting with people, ideas, or concepts, knowing and learning are our constant companions. Giving every person a chance to interact with this type of knowledge is an important factor in connectivism." Before researching about George Siemens, I did not realize how important technology was for students to learn. I never imagined the ideas that popped into my head after reading about educational considerations of connectivism. My past teaching included using forms of technology such as PowerPoints and informational websites. My current teaching has progressed into having my own teacher website with a blog attached to it. My hope is that my future teaching will include technologically based lessons for students to interact with each other and students all over the world. I want to teach my students to use social networks and media in a safe and educational way. As an educator, I found this quote from George Siemens very interesting because it shows how far the education system is behind. The field of education has been slow to recognize both the impact of new learning tools and the environmental changes in what it means to learn. Connectivism provides insight into learning skills and tasks needed for learners to flourish in the digital era. As our students change, we as educators need to adapt our teaching in order to make our students ready for their future.